This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Alongside Royden Ogletree. Royden, so glad to have you here.
Hey, happy to be here.
I have exciting news for you.
What?
You and I are both big movie buffs. But
Yes.
you get to see everything.
Yeah.
And I don't. And my wife and I had an argument the other night. Garrett, feel free to chime in here and tell me where I'm wrong.
I got you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. So, I love movies. My wife can take it or leave it.
Okay.
Completely.
Yeah. Same with mine.
If you look at our watch list of things that I want to watch compared to things that she wants to watch, it's like 25-1. I mean, it really is. And things I haven't seen. And
Things
so,
that are in the Netflix queue.
in the Netflix queue, in the Prime queue, like, you know, whatever, like
Right.
wherever I can see these things. Like, I really do. I use Prime because it can link up like all the things. So like if I wanted to watch everything everywhere all at once, I'll go to that and it'll take me to the app that it's on.
Right.
But it's on my list, right?
Yeah.
And so she says, well, it's not my fault that you don't get to see these movies. And I'm like, wait a minute. When we're sitting here and I suggest movies, it takes me like 15 things to suggest before we get to one, where if the roles were reversed and you were like, Oppenheimer, yes. Done.
Yeah,
We're done.
instantly.
We've got the movie for the night. Like, what am I doing wrong here to guys who've been married longer than me?
I'm the wrong person to ask because I hate movies. Like,
Okay.
I would rather.
But I
have
mean,
a
just
book.
like in general of like, what, like, how do I'm not going to get her to understand my side of this argument.
Right? No, that's not happening.
I think at home is different from going to the movies. I think that was a deal.
It's both.
Yeah.
It's both. You know what? Look, and I get it. You're going to criticize me, but I'm from the 80s. So I have still not seen Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and I know that it's not the best in the series.
Yeah.
I get it. I still want to see it because that is nostalgic for me.
Yeah.
So, like, she's like, I'm not stopping you from going. Yes, but if I go and you don't have anything to do, then it's like I'm going to be watching this movie not enjoying it as much because I feel bad that you're not doing anything.
A lot of this has come down to, I think my wife and I kind of made a silent agreement. Like I was continuously seeing movies before we got married. And early on in the marriage, I'm like, I'm just going to go see this. And then she gets to do whatever that is that she wants to do that day, where it's like, it's a separation. It was like, we're with each other 99% of the time. That's what a marriage is. For those of you that that aren't married, you see your wife every day. But so, you know, I think at a certain point, it's like, I need to go do this. I want to go do this. I think early on in our marriage, it was like, it's stupid to say like movies are my thing, but like it is. It's like that's where I go for like a respite of like everything else. It's I just go and I sit down in the movie theater and I spend too much money, but like I sit down in the movie theater and that's sort of a hobby of mine, I guess. Yeah. It's you know, it's not akin to woodworking or something like that that's productive, but it is a respite from whatever else I have going on that day.
Yeah.
And it's not like an escape from my wife, but I think she also uses it to go do whatever it is that she wants to do. And I just told her, I was like, I invite her to every movie.
So
it's like, I'm
that's
going to
what
go see Godzilla versus Kong. Do you want to come? Hell no, she says.
Yeah.
And I just go, fine, bye. Like, and we've kind of come to an understanding. It's like, that's when and where I go and do, and then come back and I'll talk about it. And she'll be like, oh, I probably could have gone and seen that one. I maybe would have liked it. And we're like, oh, we'll watch it. We'll watch it again later.
She went to see the other Ghostbusters with me.
Yeah.
And she was okay with it.
Yeah.
But like as they go along, there's no way. So I'm just going to have to wait. But I do. she is going to be gone for a week.
Uh-oh.
A week.
Why do you have
back
$1,000 racked up at Cinemark?
No. I am going to catch up.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to jump ahead. Like I'm like maybe I'll see something in that week that's come out that I want to see.
Yeah.
But more than likely, I will have seen at least 3 movies a night. I'm not going to go to bed. Like I don't care. I'm catching up. I'm clearing out the watch list so I can finally feel like whole again.
Right.
And I'm doing that. I feel empowered and emboldened.
You should.
I'm
You
strong.
deserved it.
And look, I do feel that, Garrett. I sent you a tweet earlier today, and this is why. This is why I feel empowered and emboldened. If you throw this up on the screen for me real quick. This is just a tweet, a conversation I'm having about the Cowboys.
The award
and chubby farts.
The award for finally making it goes to Paul Catalina in Chubby Farts.
Yes, chubby farts. I don't know.
Let's give him
finally a guy named Chubby Farts. I'd like to. Here's the award.
Dedicate the Oscar.
I'd like to thank all of you who watch the show every day, who watch my content and have helped me there, so that I can finally get the attention of Chubby Farts.
Paul Catalina, a trio of Dowdle, Zeke, and Deuce would certainly be unique if BB is able to get comfortable at center. The running lanes. Oh, the running lanes should be there. That's a kind of a nothing tweet, but it's from.
But it's like Chubby Farts reposted it. I was mentioned in it. Like, look, one time Jason Sudeikis reposted a tweet, and I was like, it was about Ted Lasso, and he was just doing that to everybody. No, but I'm just telling you, like, while I did feel, loved by Jason Sudeikis, I feel seen by Chubby Farts, and I accept this Kim Mulkey bobblehead.
Right. That was totally not in the studio already.
From the Academy as the award to finally making it. I'm big time. Look, I'm just telling you, things are like, I'm like Steve Martin in The Jerk. Things are going to start happening to me now.
What a movie.
Yeah, that Chubby Farts, if you're watching the show, thank you so much. And why wouldn't you be?
What do you think that name is derivative of? Like, where do you think it comes from?
I don't know. And I don't know, like, you have to have negative amounts of shame.
Yeah.
Like, not only no shame, like, it's, like, below zero.
Like, that's akin to, like, Feet Picks 93,
Yes. Chubby Farts is kind of, like, bold enough to, like, I'm going to, my name on Twitter is going to be Chubby Farts. Mm-hmm. Like, that is...
You think it was the first one, or do you think he, like, redid it?
I don't know. Like, it probably feels like something you have to workshop.
Yeah.
It sounds like the one of many burners.
One of many burners.
Many burners. Yeah, probably.
The guy's name's like Dan Smith, and he's just like Chubby Farts.
Yeah, absolutely. So, anyway, to the task at hand. Royden, like, we can actually talk sports. Royden, the NFL draft was this weekend, and I'm going to talk about it for the next couple days because I am a draftnik. I actually think that next year I'm going to start doing content as a draft analyst where I don't.
You analyze everybody's draft boards?
Yes, that's what I'm going to do. Like, I'll analyze Mel Kiper. Mm-hmm. Maybe not his draft board. But him personally.
Nice.
Like, I think that's a good thing. Like, because how many draft analysts are there out there?
I think you might be the first.
And then you can be the draft analyst.
I think, I don't know how much money there is in that, but like I'm
But
down
again, it's a wide open field right now.
Right.
It's
people have totally never thought about this before, and maybe for good reason.
Look, at one time, somebody said, what if we had robots? And people were like, nobody's going to need a robot.
Yeah.
And now we're just a washing robot, so much to the point where we are, like, scraping against the plot of Terminator.
Yeah.
Like, just like.
Well, I mean, there literally wasn't a thing until it was Mel Kiper and another guy. There was an article that I should have clicked on, but it was how basically Mel Kiper and a guy that I don't know if he's even with us anymore, like, founded that cottage industry. It wasn't a thing. And so I think you have some room to really grow in getting on here and being like, well, Mel Kiper could have gone more in depth about that pick, actually. Yeah,
I'll be the Mel Kiper of Mel Kiper analysts. Yeah, exactly. I think that could be that. Like, this guy, like, his presentation is good. He seems to know things. He doesn't get stuck in his opinions too much like those guys. There's guys I like. Matt Miller. I like Matt Miller a lot.
Right.
You
could have totally like went in on Nick Saban and his knowledge of all those players. Yeah.
Bill Belichick doesn't know anything.
Right. Says me from Waco, Texas.
Says me, who in 5 minutes, even though I know a lot about football, in 5 minutes of talking with Bill Belichick, I would just slink out of the room.
So what was it?
I gotta go to the bathroom.
What was it like beating the Rams that one time? That was pretty cool.
Yeah. So the trap play, that's still something that people do, right?
Right, yeah. Why doesn't the wing T exist anymore?
Cover 2. See, I know football terms. But let's get to the draft.
Yeah, Paul, very good, man.
Yeah.
Well done. Thanks.
Good. All right. Somebody get this guy a cookie. Maybe he'll be quiet. But what are the picks? And you can go throughout any round, any team. But, I think there's several steals in this draft. I think there's a lot of, really, really good picks overall. I think there's some head scratchers. Who are the ones that you really liked?
The Eagles win every draft board because, draft analyst draft board because they do the thing where they're like, we're just going to take who everybody thinks is the consensus pick at the time. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. After every single thing, every Eagles draft gets an A+. That being said, I think them being able to hop up and take Cooper DeJean in the second round at that pick, and then Kool-Aid McKinstry after that, both hopping my Texans.
Kool-Aid McKinstry went to the Saints, but
yeah, Saints. Sorry, the Titans. But I think that both of them hopping up over the Texans to take the consensus 2 best cornerbacks that probably could have gone in the first round. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. I was so mad when the Eagles got Cooper DeJean.
Kamari Lassiter's a nice consolation prize.
I think he'll be fine. The problem is that he might be slow, but relative to expectations is blow me out of the water, I guess. But I like those picks. I think Troy Franklin falling to where he fell to the Broncos.
Yeah,
I think he has a lot of the same traits of Xavier Worthy, who went in the first round. That the Broncos aren't getting slandered enough for picking Bo Nix, thank you. Aren't getting slandered enough for picking Bo Nix at number 12, all because Atlanta picked Michael Penix at 8. But I think Troy Franklin is a really good pickup in that system, especially because they need just dudes they need players. And I think he has a lot of the same traits as those guys. But those are just a few off the top of my head. I'd have to go back and look at the draft board.
No, but I liked a lot of this. I really did. I liked a lot of the things that the Eagles did, and I hate it because they're the Eagles. The Jets actually did a good job. There's a lot of teams that if you are a classic, these teams are always bad at this. The Cardinals and the Jets did really well. Now, the debate about Penix and Nix, I think, is missing the fact that Michael Penix, without the injuries, would have been a top 10 pick. And it's only a bad pick for the Falcons because they signed a quarterback. But he probably should have been a top 10 pick. I mean,
he would have been if he wouldn't have been hurt.
Yeah, if he wouldn't have been hurt. So, I can see if they're fine with the last 2 years and think he's through his injury problems, him being a top 10 pick for anybody who needed a quarterback except Atlanta, because your hope is that he doesn't play for halfway into his contract.
28, yeah.
Yeah,
that was what the GM got on and said. He's saying, well, if he sits for 3 or 4 years, it's but then he's 27.
Yeah.
And then you have to reevaluate a 27-year-old for a second contract.
Yeah.
You want I think that Penix is better than J.J. McCarthy on paper and just for what we've seen in college football. But the problem is J.J. McCarthy's 21.
Yeah.
By the time that he reaches his second contract, he'll just be maturing athletically at 25, and then you have a whole other thing to work with. Yeah. That's the whole problem, is that Penix, not only is he a little old and injured, 24 being relative to what there's 20-year-olds getting drafted, 24 being old relative to some of these guys, but you just signed. There was no plan because you signed $100 million quarterback, and then we're like, oh, I think it'd be a good idea to draft this old injured prospect.
Yeah,
there's no plan. That means you went in with no plan.
Yeah, absolutely,
and that's disconcerting.
Yeah, no, it is. Especially with other needs after you spent $100 million. Yeah, absolutely. So I think that was the second worst decision in the draft. And I love Michael Penix. Like if Michael Penix was going to the Broncos, I'd be like, man, that's a great. Like if they moved up to 8 and got him, I'd be like, good job. You know,
he's going to start. Yeah.
Had the Giants drafted Michael Penix, I'd have been like, okay, fine, good. I mean, like he's better than everybody you got. But that's not what happened, obviously. You know, so. You know, and look, they're tied up. Like the Giants made maybe the prudent financial decision to not. That's the other thing is, look, the rookie guaranteed cap number for a quarterback, you know, at that spot is pretty high as you get down the line. So they have, you know, $50 million a year already against the cap the first 2 years with Kirk Cousins, and then you're throwing like an extra 20 on top of it, or so, like 18 for Michael Penix. Well, that's a lot of money on one position when only one of them plays. This is not like, you know, one guy making 20 and one guy making 17 and they're both stud wide receivers. Yeah. You know, like this isn't, you know, what Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are going to have if the Bengals
only one person can throw the football.
Yeah, exactly. You can't have, you know, this is not that. This is not having, you know, Trayvon Diggs and what probably going to be Deron Bland's contract.
Right.
You know, when they get that done. Or Trayvon Diggs and you know, aligned like you got two people making a lot of money, but they're on the field at the same time.
Yeah.
Michael Penix and Kirk Cousins will never be on the field at the same time.
Yeah,
There's
I mean, they're
never
not
a situation
they're
where
not going to run the Ravens Heisman backfield that they did with RG3.
No, because like Kirk Cousins can't run.
Right,
you know,
not taking anybody out.
No, so they're going to be like, all right, well, I dare you to hand it to Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming off a torn Achilles anyway.
Yeah,
what the hell is he going to do?
And I get that like they're trying to guard against like him being older and not coming back from that, but I mean, if you were worried about that, then you shouldn't have signed him.
You could have took somebody in the second round.
That's why you take like Michael Pratt in the second or third round.
Yeah.
You know, you don't spend the $8 million or whatever that is per year at that slot value to take a guy that's going to sit. It just is asinine. I like, especially when you have like, you just need people that can rush the passer or people that can, you know, like a safety. You need some of those things. Or it would have been better to have taken another wide receiver and been like, well, you know, we need help for who's there
for Cousins. Yeah.
Well, no, we need help for Cousins, but we need somebody
for Drake London. Yeah,
somebody else on the outside with Drake London.
Yeah,
especially because we don't know if our tight end is actually good or not. But you know, I just think that it for where you picked him with the needs that you have is silly, and it just also means. It either means that you don't know what you're doing or you don't have faith in the $100 million quarterback that you signed. Yeah. Which one is it? Because equally as bad to have signed aging Kirk Cousins. And we're like, oh, maybe he can't play. Well, that's, you know.
Yeah. Like, all that's not good because, again, you're not helping. And you're also not helping Kirk Cousins in the short term at all. So the other one, and – look, I know that I'm screaming into the void here on this, and I will continue to. The Cowboys drafted Marshawn Nealon at 56, and I think he's a good player, and I think he's going to help them. But, like, it wasn't as big of a need as, say, running back when Jerry Jones spent the whole time. Grayson just said this. Like, it's a strategy, and, like, don't tell everybody who you want to draft. Like, saying, like, oh, we love Jonathan Brooks. We love Jonathan Brooks. We love Jonathan Brooks. Like, oh, he's great. And he thought he was maybe playing coy a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I thought, like, they're saying they love Jonathan Brooks and they're going to take Jalen Wright or Trey Benson or somebody like that. Well, Trey Benson got picked at 66. Marshawn Nealon got picked at 56. Do you know what the difference in the board of 56 and 66 is? Nothing. It's like minuscule points. Like if you're grading them out. Well, you need a running back. So the second running back should have been your target. And I get the feeling that, I don't get the feeling, I know. Like once they agreed that they kind of knew that Zeke was going to be back, they set on a path not to get a running back. Mm-hmm. And that is the dumbest thing ever, considering just one season ago, you sent Zeke into free agency because he wasn't good enough anymore. And then you throw him out, you lose the guy who he wasn't good enough for, and you're like, well, I guess he's good enough now. Like, man, I mean, I know there's some intangibles with Zeke and like, locker room guy, and his pass blocking is still really good and all that, and he's probably better, you know, to get a 1-yard touchdown than anybody else they have on the roster. But unless Deuce Vaughn is ready, you know, Rico Dowdle is just kind of a change of pace guy. Everybody else they have on the roster is a, you know, just a guy. I don't know.
The thing is that the Jonathan Brooks thing was hilarious to me because, like you said, he was actively being like Jerry Jones, actively saying we're probably going to try to draft Brooks, and you could see like Stephen Jones and who's the guy that's kind of like their acting GM,
Will McClay.
Yeah, they were just like, hey, can you shut up, basically, without so many words. They're like, stop. And then then you have Carolina, who's also like not good at this historically. Over the past few seasons, jumps you to go get him.
Yeah.
It jumps a lot of other people, but jumps you specifically when everybody in the world knew that you wanted the guy.
Yeah.
And that just can't happen. And it like I'm not one to say that like there's a lot of thought that like Jerry Jones is just like losing it out there, but that doesn't look good.
No.
And the Zeke thing is, I have like kind of a small whisper in the back of my brain that's like he's gonna be good. I just a little bit of a whisper saying like he's probably gonna score like 15 touchdowns.
Well, I hope
the
he
one
does.
thing that they couldn't do last year, and I chalk it up to I think Tony Pollard was more hurt than people knew.
Well, the offensive line wasn't very good.
The offensive line wasn't good. They couldn't score with 5 yards out. That play where he took a pitch and no one was within like 10 yards of him and he still got tackled at the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
I was like, well, this is done.
Yeah.
And so hopefully Zeke still has enough in him. I think he's probably going to run for like 800 yards, but 10 touchdowns is something in the back of my brain saying maybe they'll just be able to run the ball in this time.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Maybe not.
When we come back, Matt Brown was on our show yesterday, and he said that there will be 3 EA Sports cover athletes. I bring in our overall youngest co-host and video game aficionado.
Yeah.
Royden Ogletree and Garrett, we're going to try to break this down and figure this out.
I'm excited for this.
Yeah, we're going to try to figure out who is on the cover because they're different positions from each. They're all from a league, so they're all from power conference teams. And so there's not a repeat league. So we tried to play this shell game yesterday after the show.
We did.
And so I thought it would be a good topic for me and you to go through and see, who was where. Yeah. We're going to do that next. This is the Triple Option on 365 Sports.
If your business is like most, you need things done quickly. But if you're still tying your critical applications together on multiple shared public networks, you've probably been feeling the slowdown. And that's no good for business. A private UPN fiber network can get you and your business moving at the speed of light. Whatever you need, we can build it. Internet, Metro Ethernet, Waves, dark fiber. We deliver custom private networks and are focused on business customers only. Our next generation 100% fiber optic infrastructure offers you low latency and ultra scalable bandwidth with speeds up to 100 gigabit to run your critical applications. Your connection won't be limiting your performance anymore. It's diverse and scalable, so it can grow and change as your business grows and changes. And with a secure carrier-grade private network, you'll have all the reliability you need. Contact UPN today to learn more. Fast just got faster.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Welcome back. All right. Here's our little shell game. We are going to try to figure out who is on the covers, multiple covers, of EA Sports College Football.
Okay.
And Matt Brown knows who's on the covers.
Is he embargoed?
Yes, but he's embargoed. And so I I'm wondering, we wonder who they are. I know this for a fact. EA Sports got very mad at me because I broke a story. And now I will say this. I told this story in the air yesterday. I won't rehash it. But just to say that, I wasn't a total idiot, EA Sports didn't tell me it was embargoed. It was just Baylor emailed us and said, Robert Griffin is going to be on campus tomorrow doing a photo shoot. We can't say what for. Or the way it was written was you can't, but nobody told me not to. And the word embargo, I sent them the email, the word embargo is not used at all. Mm-hmm. So I called the source that I had and said, hey, Robert Griffin III is going to be here doing a photo shoot. I said, do you know why? And he goes, I think you know why. And I said, oh, okay. So he's on the cover. And the guy's he's like, you know why. And I was like, okay, good. I'm going to run with that. It's confirmed. This guy, he would know. He even had told me a month before, hey, Robert Griffin III was here today.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. All right. Well, he's like, I think that's it. Sometimes they run another guy through and then they kind of test it out and see which one looks better. But he was the Heisman Trophy winner, so it was going to be him.
This entire time I thought you were talking about this year. And I was just like, oh, wait, this is 2013.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, in 2013. So I learned that the hard way. They got very, very mad at me. They got very, very mad. But then
it was not hard to predict that the Heisman Trophy winner was the most popular person in the sport.
By the way, let me tell the addendum to this story. So Smokey and I worked it out with them, and mostly because of Smokey telling them hey, this is your fault. This is not our fault. I understand you're upset and we've screwed up your rollout plan, but you got to be more vigilant. Now they are.
Yep.
Okay. Now they are. So you're welcome, EA Sports.
Should cut you a check.
But so they said, look, we'd like to make it up to you guys. We're having a huge party the night before the draft, and there's going to be all these people here. You can do all the interviews you want. And so come on up here a day early because we were going to the draft. And we're like, oh, that's great. We had a remote at a Hyundai dealership that doesn't exist anymore. And those guys were great, but the salesman would not let us reschedule because he was he's an a-hole. I'm just going to say, he was
That's
just
a nice way to put it.
He's just one of the worst people. He's just, every negative quality you can find in a human being, he somehow friggin' has. But he wouldn't tell them, so I had to do this remote alone. And Smokey, on the back of my thing, goes to this party. And it's Dan Patrick and Aaron Andrews and all these NFL players. And he's sending me the interviews to, we used them on the show the next day, which we could have been doing the show from New York a day earlier. And, I went up the next day and he's like, hey man, how you doing? I'm like, I had to spend the day with this a-hole all day long.
I was at a car dealership, thanks.
Yeah, I was hawking Hyundais at a car dealership in Temple, and you're hobnobbing with Aaron Andrews. Yeah, who's winning here? I know I'm here now and I'm happy, but honestly.
Are you happy?
Part of it, yeah. So, no, but somebody had to go. And then our owners were, well, Smokey, why didn't you go? And I was like, oh, the other,
harboring no hate whatsoever.
Oh, I'll never get over it. I will never get over it. It's right up there, and I'm not mad at Smokey. One of us was going to go, or we were both supposed to go, but I've never been mad at Smokey about it. But those guys are up in my college football playoff committee. I'll never forgive you.
Those are stored away in the mind palace
right
for
there.
When you're about to die. It's just Hyundai here.
Yeah, Clint Hurdle. Not Clint Hurdle. Grady Little. Yeah. Guys like that. Sticking with Pedro in the ninth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those kind of things.
I'll wake up in a cold sweat. Albert Pujols.
Yeah. I know. You know how I feel.
You're 78.
Yeah. And you're just crying. It's I'm just thinking about Brad Lidge today.
Yeah,
his career was adversely affected by that.
For the Astros, it was.
Yeah. He broke him. So
our baby boy was never the same.
It's like the Pacific. I hope some people get that reference.
They're in the trees.
But let's get to the task at hand. Sure. And I said that twice today. So one of them's got to be a quarterback.
Right.
So the really legitimate quarterbacks that it could be would be Quinn Ewers, who's in the SEC, Carson Beck, who's in the SEC,
Jalen
Milroe, who's in the SEC, and Shadur Sanders, who's in the Big 12.
Yeah.
So
It's going to be Shadur Sanders.
you think it's going to be Shadur Sanders?
I don't. You want to finish your point, but
So I think that if it's Shadur Sanders, then that takes Travis Hunter out of this thing.
that's fair.
So I think it's got to be Quinn Ewers because Carson Beck is not nearly as well known as Quinn Ewers, even though he might be better.
Right.
We don't know. They're about the same to me. And then Milroe, even though he's at Alabama, it's just a little up and down to be the cover athlete to me.
The way I would say Milroe is because he finished so high in the Heisman voting.
Yeah.
He's the only underclassman to finish
Yeah.
higher in the Heisman voting. Who the quarterback for FSU, is he coming back?
Jordan Travis, no. He plays for the Jets now.
He plays for the Jets now. Okay, so he's the only underclassman to finish, I think.
But look, if
fifth or
Jordan Travis
sixth.
was coming back, I would almost bet you it would be him
Yeah,
over
I think
all
so.
those guys.
But
because he'd be a senior and all that. And
I think Dylan Gabriel would be.
Dylan Gabriel's in this too because he's like Mr. College QB.
I would put him over Milroe personally.
Yeah.
My initial thought was Quinn Ewers just because of, the brand, TM.
Yeah.
But when you think of the brand, nothing is more the brand than a Sanders.
Yeah.
So, he may be the most popular player, Shadur, in college football, regardless of the team. Notwithstanding, and I think he's even more, even though I think that Travis Hunter is a better prospect just in general for what he does on the football field. It's quarterback.
Yeah.
And he's Deion Sanders' kid.
So
I can't put any more emphasis on that.
yeah, absolutely. So so I think if Shadur's the quarterback, then let's work this out.
Okay.
Are we all going to vote that Shadur is the quarterback?
Now that I think about it, yes, probably.
Okay.
The only caveat to that is that it would be either Travis Hunter or the Ollie Gordon, I believe.
Okay,
from
so that takes
OSU.
out. So if Shadur it takes out Ollie Gordon,
Right.
Which is why I don't think it's Shadur because you have to have a big time running back, and Ollie Gordon is the biggest time running back that's coming back.
Yeah.
So because you could throw in Judkins or Travion Henderson, but I don't know. There's not. They
They have a relationship with OSU too because of the Barry Sanders cover back in
so
2013.
yeah.
But maybe.
So then that's why I'm going to shift to Ewers and Ollie Gordon are two of them, which then leaves the ACC and Big Ten looking for covers. And I think there could be 3 or 4.
I'm not sold on Ollie Gordon. I'm really not.
Yeah. I mean, he's not. He was the reason I just went back and looked at Heisman voting, and historically it's been Heisman caliber players or players that have won the Heisman. This is completely different.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of national brand players. And to me, Ollie Gordon is probably, like you said, the most known running back. He finished 8th in the Heisman voting last year. So potentially, I don't know. But to sell games, is it going to be the OSU running back that may have a little brand recognition?
Yeah.
Or the top stars in the Big 12, which are on Colorado?
Yeah. Again, so that's why I'm going to say, well, maybe let's say Travis Hunter is one of them. Because
I feel more comfortable if it was Travis Hunter.
Okay,
out
it
of
was
the Big
Travis
12,
Hunter, and
personally.
let's say
That's just
Quinn.
me.
Then I would say Quinn Ewers is the SEC guy.
Although you could make an argument for Riley Leonard, but
He's not flashy enough. I don't
no,
think
but he's the Notre Dame quarterback.
Yeah, but that doesn't hold much value.
Yeah, maybe true. So, all right. So this is how hard this is. This is Travis Hunter in the Big 12, Quinn Ewers in the SEC, which I'm still not used to saying.
Right.
All right. So then,
You think Travis Hunter, defensive player, technically, also wide receiver. Do you think they go with another big time?
I think that so then you've got the Big Ten and the ACC.
Mason Graham from Michigan.
Mason Graham from Michigan could be one. Barrett Carter from Clemson could very well be one. I mean, he's a very, very good linebacker. Golly.
Well, who's the quarterback for Clemson?
Klubnik, but he's not. He hasn't done
Klubnik,
nothing.
yeah.
I'm just thinking ACC.
Cam Ward could maybe be it.
He very well could be.
I mean, he very well could be, but he hasn't won a whole lot of games. He's just at the U. Man, man, it's so hard to like work through with that, like to nail it. Like this is like the derbies this weekend, right? Mm-hmm. This is like trying to pick that exacta box where you're like, okay, this force is going to finish first, second, third. If you hit that, then you can hit like that's one of the bigger ones you can hit. Like I don't even know.
Well, it's hard when you're looking at 2025 draft eligible players. You know, you have to really scroll down until you get someone from the ACC.
Yeah.
It's all Michigan and again Oregon people too.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. I'm thinking of the ACC, but you're the ACC guy, so
I mean, there's not like the ACC is in this pickle for a reason, guys.
Right.
I mean,
I think they might be left out. My three, if I had to pick three,
if it's 3 and not 4. If it's 4, then like there's someone from the ACC like Cam Ward or Barrett Carter who's going to get it. But again, there's not like
Patrick Payton from Florida State.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but like. If it was Jared Verse, I would get it. Like, Patrick Payton's probably going to be a first-round pick, but he doesn't have the juice that Jared Verse does. Right? So, Keon Coleman's gone. Johnny Wilson's gone. Trey Benson's gone. Jordan Travis is gone. Like the guys that they would have on offense. And even the guys on D, like Verse is gone. Fisk is gone. Like they've got some good players, and they're going to be good again. But, like, the stars that you would recognize, like, unless they just want, like, people are going to, like, our market testing has showed that people will buy a cover with a Florida State guy on it more than they will a guy with a Clemson on it.
Oh, you know what we're missing? Cam Ward, Miami.
We said it a second ago, but I just –
okay.
Yeah, Cam Ward, it just – I don't know, man. I don't know.
If I had 2 of the 3 that I put right now, it's going to be Travis Hunter, and I would put Dylan Gabriel as your quarterback. I understand the Quinn Ewers
that gets you that's easier than the Big Ten.
Nike thing.
Yeah, that gets you the Big Ten really easily. And then you've got Travis Hunter in the Big 12. And then in the SEC, I mean, there's just a myriad of guys you can pick.
I mean, throw Luther Burden up there. He's a freaking star receiver.
Yeah, Luther Burden, Walter Nolan.
Yeah.
At Ole Miss. Yeah, no.
There's a world also where this is just all quarterbacks and we're all,
Yeah, they told him it was not going to be all quarterbacks. So,
okay.
Yeah, so it's not all quarterbacks. But, yeah, Walter Nolan at Ole Miss wouldn't be one I would sneeze at, Alabama's still got some guys that you think it could be, so.
I think it's Cam Ward for Miami.
Okay.
I really, like, who's the big name quarterback?
Yeah.
Or the big name player?
that is, like, he said 3
Cam
or
Ward,
4 covers. If there's 4 covers, then, like,
Cam Ward in the Miami jersey is going to go hard. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it will look cool.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. But so would Dylan Gabriel in that Oregon.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking ACC. That y'all are doing all the others, and I'm like, who could possibly?
Yeah, no, it's tough. That's why it's really hard. And the thing is, roster turnover is so much now that, like, it used to be pretty easy. Yeah. If they were doing it, like, especially if they were doing a basketball game, it would be even harder.
Oh yeah,
because you'd be like, oh, this guy. Oh wait, no. Jeremy, no.
Wait.
He's in the Big 12. I know that law.
He transferred again. He went, didn't like the campus, wasn't about the vibes, transferred again.
Yeah. Misa Suse, he's about to be his 4th school, or maybe his 3rd school again. So, like, yeah, it's just so confusing to how that might happen. So I don't know. Look, it's a fun topic to talk about, and that's why I wanted to, because you're trying to really, like, and it's a good thought exercise as we head into the offseason of, all right, who are the guys that we need to watch out for, and who are we not thinking of?
Yeah.
You made a great point with Mason Graham, one of the best defensive linemen in the country back at Michigan. Mm-hmm. Jack Sawyer at Ohio State back there. JT Tuyamalo back there at Ohio State. Mm-hmm. So those are guys, Big Ten dudes, that could very much be in the picture here. Emeka Ibuka at Ohio State could be in the picture here. So those are
Barrett Carter at Clemson.
Yeah,
linebacker.
I'm telling you, Barrett Carter, he would look good on the cover. As much as it pains me to say that about a guy in all orange, but. Or maybe they put their stupid purple jerseys and the orange pants, which, like,
Purple jersey. You don't like purple jerseys, orange pants?
I don't. Look, Clemson, like, if you wore the Clemson colors out, there's only, like, you can't, like, you honestly look like you're going to the Plater Haters Ball. Like, you do.
Hate.
Yeah. I'm going to go home and put water in Buck Nasty's mama dish. Like, that's what I think when I see Clemson in the purple and orange is that.
I want them to buck tradition and just put a Michigan offensive lineman on there or something.
That'd be great. I'm all for it.
Do it for the brand, man. You gotta get some big guys on there.
Yeah, absolutely. When we come back, I am an advocate of sports gambling if it's regulated. But we're going to play a game called, is this a bad idea? Because I think we found a topic that this might be a bad idea. I don't know if it's a good idea or a bad idea, but we're gonna outsource it to you guys. Is this a bad idea? And if you're a patron of Dave & Buster's, you're either going to be really excited or really terrified by this. This is 365 Sports.
If your business is like most, you need things done quickly. But if you're still tying your critical applications together on multiple shared public networks, you've probably been feeling the slowdown. And that's no good for business. A private UPN fiber network can get you and your business moving at the speed of light. Whatever you need, we can build it. Internet, Metro Ethernet, Waves, dark fiber. We deliver custom private networks and are focused on business customers only. Our next generation 100% fiber optic infrastructure offers you low latency and ultra scalable bandwidth with speeds up to 100 gigabit to run your critical applications. Your connection won't be limiting your performance anymore. It's diverse and scalable, so it can grow and change as your business grows and changes. And with a secure carrier-grade private network, you'll have all the reliability you need. Contact UPN today to learn more. Fast just got faster.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
So, we're going to play a game called Is This a Bad Idea? And Garrett
Leaves a lot of room for interpretation.
Put up the tweet from News 10 Philadelphia. Customers can soon make a friendly $5 wager on a Hot Shots basketball game, a bet on a skee ball game.
I'm not sure why it's probably not popping up, but just read it. I don't see it. It's not popping up. You can just read it.
All right. Well, I'll just read it. You can put Royden back on the screen so we can get a reaction shot from it.
Hello.
There we go. Bet on a skee ball competition or another arcade game. The betting function, expected to launch in the next few months, will work through the Dave & Buster's app. So you can go to Dave & Buster's and bet on skee ball, big buck hunter, hot shots, like they said, Papa Shot, which I guess is called Hot Shots there. Listen, I think most people will just be like, oh, hey, I won $5 off of Garrett at skee ball. Which, by the way, Garrett's got long arms. I'm not taking him on in skis. Skee ball's not a problem?
Oh, I can get you in skee ball.
Okay, skee ball, that's where I'm worried about, is where basically, like,
he said you don't want these problems, you don't want this.
Yeah, by the time he gets rid of the ball, it's already, like, halfway
it's
there.
It's at the 1,000 mark.
Yeah, it's right there at the 1,000. It's not fair. Papa Shot is not necessarily a tall man's game. It's more about accuracy.
Delicate, yeah. Touch.
So it's about touch. And so, like, he's a guy who bangs down low, maybe more of a layups guy.
Throwing hook shots at Papa Shot.
Yeah.
That's not my game. Yeah.
I'm all about speed. You know, I can probably get
Have you seen that video of the guy with like, the balls are coming in succession and he's just like that?
Yeah.
That's going to be a great gifable. But, like, and he's just throwing them in from the ocean.
Yeah. And that guy is someone who did, like, not have a life.
Exactly.
Like, again, he decided, like, listen, something bad's gone on. The only thing that brings me joy is Papa Shot. And
Sir, the arcade is closing. Don't take this from me.
It's midnight. We're closed.
Yeah.
All right, fine. He just wanders the streets and waits for the next arcade to open. But here's why I think this is bad. Have you ever been to, like, Ocala, Florida? Or Moultrie, Georgia. I mean, they have two. Like, they might have a Dave & Buster's in Moultrie, Georgia.
Like Louisville, Texas.
Yeah. Places like that outside of Tulsa.
Outside of Tulsa. That's right.
It's places that are veritable shopping malls.
Yeah. Riverside, California. Places that are not like that. This will be like the biggest thing of the week for people. And if I lose, I lose $5 to you on Hot Shots basketball. Yeah. Then I lose $5 to Garrett on skee ball. And then I lose $5 more to Garrett on skee ball. And then I get in the hole, right? And then I go back and I'm going to play Golden Tee with you. And I'm done. I'm down $50. And I'm also during this time housing beers. And, I'm about to bust out of my tank top and, I've lost a flip-flop, all these things. My Bermuda shorts are all
Your mango jewel pod fell in the toilet.
Yeah, all those things have happened to me. And I just go and grab a skee ball and I throw it right at you.
Yeah.
Because I can see it now. Tragedy struck tonight at a Gainesville, Florida Dave & Buster's after two gentlemen fought over skee ball.
Yeah.
It erupted in a brawl.
It started when he said, Cletus, I don't owe you that much damn money.
Yeah. And I made fun of Gainesville, but I will say this, and the reason I think this is I got called for jury duty one time when I was a student at Florida State. And this was the case. These guys were cousins. They got in an argument.
This is incredible. I know it is.
About a NASCAR race. One of them shot the other one in the ass. And it was a .22, so it was a small caliber bullet, but he was close enough to him where it literally
still mess you up.
It still blew off a good chunk of his ass cheek, just gone. So the victim, waddles in and sits down on the front row during jury selection. He's got this donut there, looking as pathetic as you can be, and knowing the biggest thing is. There's regret that this all happened, but now there's even more regret that this has gone to trial because the shooter's defense was he attacked me first, and I had no option but to shoot him in the back. So I don't know what he thought was going to happen, but he shot. And I got dismissed from the jury because I was 21. They absolutely did not want me on this jury. There's no way they want to be in the jury. But I had to sit there.
This guy's not going to be impartial.
But I had to sit there all day. And the other reason was they're telling the story, and I'm just like, God, why would you do that? Holy cow! Oh man, you know what I'm going to do? If I was the lawyer, I'd be like, hey, read this book. It's called The Cat in the Hat, and they'd be like, I can't do that. What are you talking about? This is way over my head.
And when he said Dale didn't deserve to win that race, that's when I was like, oh man, I'm locked in.
The first thing I thought when I heard this is this is going to cause that same thing.
The need to gamify, this is a bigger problem. The need to gamify everything in our life is a little gross. That being said, the origin of the app in general, I think can be fun if you're out on the golf course or at a bowling alley. Out in the world, the actual app, which I forget what it's actually called. I'll see if I can find it. But the actual app, okay, fine. You could already do this if you were with a buddy. You could just Venmo them, oh, hey, I'm gonna make it onto the green on this par 3, and you hit it into the woods. Oh, okay, well, Venmo you $20.
Yeah,
gentleman's agreement or whatever, because nobody carries cash around anymore. Yeah. That's another problem with this whole thing. But the need to gamify everything that we do. Let's gamify driving, Tesla. Let's, it's that is a little bit. Yeah. Because we just can't exist other than to continuously try to challenge people to something.
No, and you've been.
The original app is called Lucra Sports or Lucra Sports.
Yeah. So all of us in here are men. Mm-hmm. We've all been hanging out with our buddies on a random night. There's absolutely nothing going on.
Right.
And you invent a game with the items just in your immediate possession.
Yeah.
You know, like that's how quarters got invented.
Well, yeah,
okay?
I was going to say, you saw it in The Last Dance. They're throwing the quarters up against the wall. You know, or like dice or anything.
Yeah, like all those stuff. Like you can make a competition or anything, but that's when you're like, you shouldn't have to do that if you're already at a Dave and Buster's.
Right.
Like you're already out. You're already spending money, way more money than the video games are worth. And no offense to Dave and Buster's, but like it's more expensive than. You know, you used to go, and like, and I know I'm going to sound old here, but you know this, but you just put in a quarter, like, you get $5 of quarters, and then once that $5 is over, you'd played enough video games to last you a week. I mean, it was a lot. Now, it's not that anymore.
It's $1.50 to do like one round of skee ball, and I'm not really being facetious.
No, it is.
You put it all on a card, and the problem is you don't know how much, like, it's all points based on the point system on your card. Regardless, you go and you don't know how much you're swiping for. It's like 50 points. Well, that 50 points is like $1.50 to play one round of Pop-A-Shot.
So then, like, that's how they get you into like
spending
like they get you into like buy the unlimited pass for tonight, so you can just go. But then I don't really know how much do I have in me? Like I don't know. Like, you know, I bought, like, took my nephews there, and, like, I got the unlimited pass. I was like, here you go. And then we were there for, like, an hour and 40 minutes before they had to go, and I was like, I don't know if that
wasn't worth it.
I could have probably gotten off for, like, instead of $70, I probably gotten for 35, but I didn't know, like, this was our little activity. Like, I
just can't imagine. The thing that what does Dave & Buster's get out of this other than it continues to feed the need to try and catch up and play those games more?
Yeah.
So I guess
well, again, they're going to get a fee off of it.
So can you imagine being in debt to Dave & Buster's? Oh, I got to go pay my bookie. Where's he at? D&B's down the road. Yeah. You know, oh my God. How much, babe, we can't make rent this week. Why? Because I owed Jeremy, $200 because I lost at bowling.
Yeah.
What? Divorce. All like it is just, this is the true degradation of society.
Yeah.
They want to talk about like stuff in video games and stuff in media and music and stuff. No, it's this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, oh, I lost all this money riding the motorcycle. You know, like not a real one. No. Like, oh no, it was on VR. Well, I virtually lost it, but in real life.
I didn't shoot enough zombies, so now I owe Dave a percentage.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So
I think that you should be, I'm not going to get on my moral high horse. I think you should be allowed to gamble.
Yeah.
That's like, do what you want with your money. I think the morality of, especially Texas, I don't want to have to get on a political spectrum here, but the morality clauses of these states to be like, not here, but you can go up to Oklahoma or Louisiana. You can bust there and spend all the money you want. Like, you should be allowed, if I see a game, I should be allowed on TV to put money on it because it's already been established. Yeah. You're not stopping it at this point is my whole spiel. So,
and look, I don't even think this should be illegal. I just don't think it's a good idea.
That's fair.
I
don't think it should be illegal. I'm just saying,
do what you want, but like, know that like there needs to be a meeting at Dave & Buster's corporate where it's like, okay, we've got to have a white trash clause in here for how do you react to like. Have you ever had a job where you like worked in retail or a restaurant or somewhere like that, and they like tell you like, listen, if somebody comes in to rob the place, just give them what they want.
Right.
Like nobody's a hero here. Give them what they want. Make sure they don't hurt anybody and go away.
We had a whole code gray team at the hospital where like if you had a crazy person, you had to go and
you have a whole thing. Like they're gonna have to like they already have this, but like they're gonna have to raise it up a notch. Where they're like, listen.
Imagine being a Dave & Buster's bouncer. I got to throw this guy out because don't this guy money.
Don't come back again and just like, rip the stuffed unicorn out of his arms.
Yeah, you imagine having your photo like on a saloon door put up at Dave & Buster's. Wanted. Don't let this guy back in again.
Yeah, never. Not welcome. Not welcome under any circumstances.
He owes us too much money for Mario Kart.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a dumb thing. Well, that was fun. That was a nice discussion. I feel like it was productive.
It was very productive.
It was productive. All right, Royden, have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week.
Sure.
I hope that the sun shines always in your face and the wind's always at your back and things like that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was the other night. It was unbelievable. Talking about the weather here on this show, but it was just like it was going to blow me over.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, I'm going to throw out something on your – I just had a memory on your little gambling note there.
Yeah.
So everybody who's on their high horse in Texas about it, and they're listening to politicians tell them, like, we can't do it here. Those politicians are taking money from the casinos.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
and
they're
a
not,
lot of other people.
They're taking money from the casinos in those states to be like, hey, so they can take money from the casinos, but you can't. Just think about that. Because when you hear that, there's very few of them that are actually, then I'm sure there's some true believers that are out there that are like,
teetotalers,
teetotalers that's how they are. But I'm telling you, that's the minority of it. Like it would be a small one where they're like, well, thank God for Doug, because he's the one who he's just on this,
This
and then
speech
all
is brought to you by WinStar.
Yeah.
WinStar.
Yeah.
Come spend your money here.
Oh
Not
yeah.
in Texas.
Here's the other thing. There's no law against them spending advertising dollars to get people to leave.
Sign up in Dallas when you
Yeah.
go through.
Yeah. I mean, I know the Brooks and Dunn's going to be at WinStar. I've seen it because I've been in Dallas 3 times in the last month. We saw it. Brooks and Dunn's going to be there. I see Troy Aikman and Darren Woodson and Emmett Smith on the Choctaw billboard.
All the time.
Yeah.
We had Darren Woodson on the show because of Choctaw.
Yep.
They can advertise anyway. I also think this goes down, and but this goes down to the whole Jonte Porter thing too. Yeah. It's like don't gamble on the NBA. Brought to you by FanDuel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Huh? And look, I don't think players should be gambling on the sports that they're participating in. I should denote that, but it is ironic to just say Jonte Porter has been suspended for indefinitely from the NBA. Now, watch this ad.
Yeah. You are all allowed to do it. He can't because I can't.
Pete Rose has been suspended from the Baseball Hall of Fame. Brought to you by Prize Picks.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, thank you to everybody. Bracket Cat says he ran for state office once, and one of his chief donors was Phil Ruffin of the Greyhound track and slots fame. So, there you go.
It's there.
And they donate to all these people. And that's how America works. We can get in the weeds about that another time, but I'm just telling you, when it comes to, somebody telling you not to do something, just look at who gave them money to tell you not to do it.
Exactly.
That's what you have to do, and the only industry that I don't feel like that's true in is the marijuana industry because they really want to be everywhere. So there's not because there's not people in Louisiana where it's legal, or Oklahoma where it's legal, or New Mexico where I think it's legal in New Mexico.
It is now, yeah.
It's legal in New Mexico that are spending weed dollars in Texas, being drive here because that's kind of reckless. That would be come across the dry county line to drink. That's going to get you sued. But yeah, they're not the ones who they're not paying the politician to be like, it's gonna kill our kids.
I think tobacco is though.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway,
and alcohol.
This afternoon we are trying to get Dennis Dodd on the show today. We do have John McClain. We've got the top 5. We've got.
You want to tease the top 5 here, or do we?
I'll tell you, it's a top 5 best mid-round draft picks. Okay. So that's what it's going to be. We have Off the Radar, and we've got Justin Williams, and hopefully Dennis Dodd. He has not yet responded to me again, but we'll see.
Stay on him. We'll be fine.
Either way, we'll be fine. This is the Triple Option on 365 Sports. See you in an hour, everybody.
If your business is like most, you need things done quickly. But if you're still tying your critical applications together on multiple shared public networks, you've probably been feeling the slowdown. And that's no good for